Hey Gundam fans, in particular deformed ones, we have the special clear version of the Wing Gundam Zero from Endless Waltz. I have not seen that cartoon though, so I have no idea. This is part of the SD Gundam Cross Silhouette series, so this one has the Cross Silhouette frame, meaning it's the taller frame. It's not as deformed, it's just an SD. Let's get this thing open. Alright, so not much by way of photos of what there's no indication of what this thing looks like other than the frame. It's a gray one. Seems like this clear stuff is made of polystyrene. Actually, I think most of the model kits are made out of polystyrene. But all I know is this clear plastic seems more brittle than opaque plastic. That's my experience with this stuff. Alrighty, let's see here. Instructions, nice and small, but here's the runners and what parts should be on it. The instructions actually start on the first page here. This came out in 2020, this particular kit. So you don't need to really read so much, you just have to look at the images and try to guess the shapes and make them match. So it should hopefully be a pretty straightforward build. I like the clear ones because I really don't have to paint anything. Painting is so time consuming. Let us take a look at some of these things, get an idea of what the plastic looks like. So this is a pretty dark blue actually. It's obviously translucent. This is your standard cross silhouette frame here, and this again is opaque plastic. I feel like it's stronger. It doesn't really crack to my experience like this stuff can so easily. Let's look at the it's weird. Some of these you can tear open, this one you cannot, not easily. I don't know why they would have such weird, different ways of bagging stuff. It's strange, right? Alright, so there's the wings, and they look pretty cool, but these definitely look fragile. Alright, in the back of the head, some more wings, and looks like forearms maybe? Yeah, these must be the arms, because there's two of them. And then the last bag, nope, no tear there either. This is what makes Bandai great. Bandai can actually mold multiple colors in one shot, right? Look at this. This is all one molding, but it's shot in these different plastics. And this one in particular is cool. It's like a neon green. Very neat. The red is nice. It's a nice medium red. And then this like yellow is okay, I guess. One could call it gold as well. And then here, the gun area. This looks like a metallic. I don't know if it's going to show up so much on the camera, but there's a bit of a shininess to it. So maybe I won't even paint that. Yeah. A lot of times the metallic stuff though is so wavy looking, like I'm forced to paint it because it's just like right there. There's a waviness to it where the plastic meets in the mold. But that's such an obscure location, I don't think it's gonna really bother me so much. And then the last bit are literally paper stickers, which are not to my liking, but this is meant for kids, you know. This is not a serious model kit, so it's more of it's definitely a beginner model kit, I would say. So as usual, I shall cut to some music, fast forward a little bit, and we'll see at the end of when the review happens. Okay, we are back, and this is probably the easiest cross silhouette I've ever put together as far as actually finishing it. For some reason, maybe it's because I used my relatively new God hands. They clipped off the sprues pretty easily, and I used this Display grinder with the 1000 grit paper. And I really wish Display would come out with a higher grit. If they came out with a higher grit, you wouldn't need to polish these nubs at all. This would just take it off and polish it. But right now, 1000 is still a little bit too rough on this clear plastic. So after that, I would use this thing, a 3000, 600 to 3000. It's this white, it's just foam. I don't even think there's grit. But for some reason, this white foam polishes up this plastic very nicely. Alright, so one other thing I want to mention is this hole here for the stand is absolutely worthless. It's so shallow. It's a 3mm hole. This is from like an action figure, but this is a 3mm peg. I want you to see how much of this peg goes into this hole. Hold on here. That much. Only that much. So the hole's only like 3mm deep. So it's just poorly designed. So you need to drill this out, I think, to actually use it. So I have a 3mm drill bit. Okay. It only has to go through a little bit of plastic. It's hollow on the other side. So now, yeah, see, that's much more. It's never going to fall off now. I guess I could go even further. Let's see if I can get further up there. Yep. There's two walls, apparently, you can go through. Now you can actually see light coming through that hole. You gotta be careful not to actually drill up into this piece, though. So you might want to do that before you put it together. Now watch this peg. It's gone, right? So, I mean, it's a flying Gundam. You gotta have the thing in flight mode, right? It's a real shame it doesn't actually come with a stand, but I guess try to keep the price point down. So a few other things. It came with 2 extra eyepieces, and there's only 1 sticker for the eyes if you want to have the cartoon eyes. It's nice to have extras. Maybe you could paint something or put jewel beads there. In fact, that would be an interesting experiment. Hold on one second. So I use this UV light glue here by Display. Seems to work pretty well. I like it because it dries clear, but it doesn't leave any sort of like hazing from crazy glue. See this white stuff? That's the hazing from crazy glue. These are my little watch faces that I use for crazy glue application. So I have some fluorescent beads here. I'm going to dip one in this display glue, and so since it's UV, it doesn't actually do anything until I hit it with light. It's just going to stay soft. I'm going to put that right in the middle here. Now I'm going to hit this with some light. That's good enough. So now it's hard, but there's no hazing, right? Or crazing. And this second eye is a challenge. I gotta make sure it's aligned with the other one. It's a little bit off, maybe like that. That's the beauty of this glue. It's not hardened. It's actually more like way out here. Unless I want to make both eyes. It might be cool to just leave as a mono eye, but nah, I guess I want to have it even. I guess that's even around there. I should probably wipe off the extra glue though. So I gotta get a Q-tip or something. These are eyelash swabs. In fact, let me do that again. Wipe this off. So it does seem like this stuff leaves some sort of chemical reaction. The other one didn't harden, it just fell off. But I think I could just polish it out again with this buffer stick. So this 600 grit. Right, then I'll use the white side. Doesn't seem to be as clear as it was though. Maybe I gotta just buff it some more. Yeah, that's good enough. So let me try that again, and I guess I'll have to cure the glue a little bit better. Unfortunately, it's really hard to pick these up with these tweezers. See? Alright, let me do this off camera. Yeah, you know, it turns out my flashlight battery was dying. Watch how bright it is now. Alright, it's much brighter. New battery. So these are UV beads, which is kind of neat. So when you hit them with the light, you know, they show up quite a bit. It's kind of hard to tell in this photo booth because it's so bright. Alright, we'll see what that looks like. So there's always an extra neck piece. It's just part of something else, I don't know, an old design, but you never use this thing. Alright, so let's go over the figure first before those options. I guess the easiest thing is to start with the back. So these wings, they can pivot on these arms here. Well, first the arm can pivot. Well, here we go, let's pivot there. So it can fold down and up a few, all the way up there. And then the arm itself is on a ball peg, so that thing can, you know, splay sideways, a little bit of up and down, and then that wing. And obviously it can rotate being on a ball peg, so interesting, you could do that from the... Okay. So it's nice that you have, you know, a lot of posability options there. Alright, then these giant wings here, they're on their own ball peg at the end here. So, some movement with that. Obviously rotation. But then this whole arm is able to swivel front and back. And rotate. So you can very much get these wings however you see fit. Right. I'll figure something out later on that. Alright, now the neck is on a hinge ball. Oh, I see the head came off. That's a pretty good, there we go. So this ball peg here is actually on a pivoting peg, alright? So yeah, I'm gonna leave it with the clear eyes, I just like them more. But if for some reason you don't like that, you can switch this out. You know what? Well, I think this whole thing is supposed to come off, but it's on really tight. That came off, but I think this slides in here. I don't know if you can use the other eyes. Why else would they be there? Yeah, so this thing is just super tight. There we go. So the chin part remains like that. And now if you wanted to, you could pop in the cartoon eyes like that. And then that goes up in that peg there. Blimey. None of this is glued together. You know, it's just friction fit. So that's what it looks like with the cartoon eyes. Like that. Yeah, some people might like that. I don't blame you if you do. But let's see it with those jewel beads. I'm thinking it's not going to be good. Yeah, it looks weird. It looks like a cute anime cartoon, not a serious Gundam cartoon, right? It looks like a different type of robot, but again, since they're fluorescent eyes, let me hold it in some darkness. Ooh, yeah, all that green lights up nicely. Look at that. That's really cool how that fluorescent green also shows in the back a little bit. So, yeah, it's nice that you have that extra eyepiece, basically. But I think I prefer the shape of the original ones. So let's get that out. And I assume that's going to glow just as much. So let's try the UV light again. Oh, boy. Things there. It's really tight, all these bits. I cannot get that thing off. Ah, man. Right. Alright, let's go back to this red thing. Pop that on there. Okay, now pop this on here. And then let's pop that back in the head. Yeah, these aren't really tight either, these little wing things. But I guess it's, if you drop it, you know, it'll just fall apart instead of snap the plastic. So it might be good to just not glue it together. You'll stand a better chance of falling. This is supposed to get in a little further, it looks like. Alright, let's leave it at that. Alright, let's put that in some darkness. Yeah, right, so UV's cool with the green. That fluorescent stuff. The blue doesn't really pick up on it, nor does the red, just the green. Alright, so actually while the head's off, these shoulders can slide in and out. So it's there, it slid out, there it slid in. So you get a little more access for the ball peg of the shoulder here, so you can clear the armor more. Right, and then so if this is a ball peg here, you can go up, down, rotate. If you want to compress that gap, just push in the shoulders. Right. Not sure why that other one's so tight. There we go. So it looks a little tighter, you know, that way. So it's nice to have that. Okay, so then up in the upper deltoid area or whatever, is that deltoid? I think it is. You have another ball peg for the bicep, and then that leads to a single hinge for the elbow, and you can get a 90-degree bend there, a little bit of a reverse bend, and your hand is on a ball peg as well, and that's unfortunately it collides quite a bit with the forearm, so you're not going to get too much movement out of that, but it looks tight. Yeah, so this piece, I don't know, it's just not the greatest fit there. Possibly I might UV glue that one because there's no reason why it needs to come off ever again. Alright, so that's the arms. So the torso, there's a ball peg here as well, so a little bit of movement front back, side to side, and rotation all the way around if you want. Okay. And then the worst part is these hips, because for some reason this hole isn't like deep enough to really stay on that peg with the ball. It's just not, it's not a good design, and that's the case with all of these SDCS I run into. It's just poorly designed. They need to update that so it's deeper, or do something different. I don't understand why they would even let that happen when they're so good at making other Gundam robots. Alright, well anyways, yeah, so you can get in and out, front and back, quite a good amount of the back, because there's not much armor back there. And then it leads down to a single hinge here for the knee, and you get almost maybe 80 degrees or something. Then you'll see here on the back of the foot, this one fell off, but you have an ankle guard, and that snaps into this back of the shin there, and that kind of helps mask off this whole gray foot joint, which is a ball peg. So the ball peg, you know, rotation, you know, side to side rocker's pretty good, and you can kind of cover it up, you know, with that armor piece. So I think that's nice, but unfortunately it's not the best design as far as how they have these ball pegs going into these cups. So you can actually get the legs kind of close to each other, and these things don't collide so much. That was an issue with the RX-78 I did. These things are too huge on the RX-78. You can look up that review if you want, or maybe I'll pull it out for review. Alright, bottom of the feet have nice molded details. There's basically nice molded details everywhere. I'm positive they have a regular opaque version, but I rather like these clear ones because you don't have to finish them. They don't really want to be painted, and I don't feel like painting stuff all the time. It's a real pain. Alright, so let's pop that head back on. So we got those 2 extra eye bits. Now the gun itself, right now it's in the combined mode, but you can actually splay them out and have them in each hand. So you gotta take these magazines out, and then the guns just come apart like this. And then you take the magazine apart and you just attach it to the other side like that, and like this. This tab wants to be on the bottom, I guess. The tab's a little unsightly, but all in all, they're okay looking guns. So let's do a double wielding here. Let's get this bent upwards. Ah, boy, that's a pain. I'm gonna come back. So the last bit of the stickers, they wanted to put these gold stickers around the shoulders, these blue shoulders there, but I know better. I mean, they're just gonna peel off at some point in time. And then these green are supposed to go into those squares there, but the thing's already fluorescent green, so I see no reason to use those whatsoever. So those go into the trash. So I look forward to seeing this video one day. Maybe it'll be on Gundam Info on YouTube at some point in time. So I have a few other of these SDCSs. This is Char's Zaku. I had some decals and beads and all that stuff. More recently I did this Nightingale. Man, that was a serious project. Oh man, this thing's got such big wings. I gotta be careful what's gonna collide with. So, yeah, that Nightingale's, it was great, but it took forever, like good maybe 30 hours to do. And then the last one is this RX-73 in a regular opaque, and I painted some of the parts. I got this at the Gundam base here, and naturally added some more details again. So I guess that's it for my SDCS collection. Let's see if I can get a better angle here. Unfortunately, it's just everything's too big. Alright, well, you get the idea. So these two are naturally the smallest. I guess the Zaku is the smallest one. And then this is coming in next. And then I would say this Endless Waltz is the next, or second to the largest, just because of these wings. But yeah, the Nightingale is still ranking in as the largest of the SDCS, which I think it should. It's a pretty large mobile suit in the Gundam universe. Alright, let's try to get a better close-up here. So if you're not looking to paint stuff, you want to go with these transparent model kits. And if you don't want a complex one, the SDCS is pretty good. It's just that some of the design issues with this frame, they could definitely be better. The main one is the hips don't want to stay where they are. But then these hinges, they also want to fall apart very often. I collect these things called Gashipan Senshis, which are Gundams also, and their tiny little elbow joints have a little ridge in them, so once you put those joints together, they can never fall apart. I think that's something they should do on these. It's really weird that they don't. See that gap? It's very unsightly in the knee. So, yeah, these model kits could be a lot better, and really for no difference in price. Just some minor details in the parts could make them snap fit together once and never come apart again. With the hinge joints, I think that would make sense. But all in all, pretty good, this one. It was really easy to put together. I didn't have any major cracks or anything like that. There were tiny little artifacts you can still see, but you really got to look for those blemishes, I think. So I look forward to making the next one, and hopefully you'll stay tuned and watch that. Thank you for tuning in today.